Okay, so it's getting a little cold tonight, so it's a little cooler in the shop right now. So I gotta have my beanie on and another coat. But I want to show you what I'm doing here. So what I had here, I had these pine boards underneath the bed, the rails, and then I also welded with them underneath so you can see they got burnt. But I don't want pine under there, pine's too soft. What I do have, oak. So oak is a little more dense, heavier board. Should be able to withstand the weight a little bit better. I already have these pieces in down here. So those are in. I also have the nuts on here and they're tack welded. So that way I don't have to have a wrench to hold them on when I put everything together. But those oak pieces will get sandwiched in there. That'll help absorb some of the shock and stuff from your load and everything. Plus I need a little extra height anyways for my B&W gooseneck hitch. So that'll work good there. Oh man. You can see here what we did is we welded this extra piece in here just to beef that up a little bit since I notched those rails there. I need another block of wood, not this one. I need to attach it down into here because there's a rail right there. This one's going to have a full strip, but you need something underneath your rails. You can't leave your rails unsupported because there's going to be a lot of weight, and so we want something underneath it. Now, I do have these. It can't squish down too far because you're going to hit this, and it'd probably be fine, but I'd rather have it sitting on blocks of wood. So what I have going right over here, I have these boards. I'm going to rip them down so they're not so wide. And they'll fit right on top of this rail underneath here, and they'll actually even be wider than this, but that way it'll distribute the weight along this, especially since there's nothing underneath right underneath these beams. So there's the bolt hole. Originally I was going to try to have the beams right on top of those places, but it wasn't going to work out right, so I just put a decent space in between these. Where I thought they'd work out well, and I think it did turn out to be pretty good that way. So I just got to make these pieces up and get them installed, and then we're done with that part. This one's going to be for the right side of the truck, my left hand right now, and I got this depth set. Now technically I can take a little bit off of this depth here, and that's how much I need to cut out here. We can test our pieces and we should be perfect. That goes right in there. And then I have to jack up the other side, but you see that perfect there? I'll mark my holes, drill my holes through, and then after that it's just put those bolts, do the other side, get the other side done. That's all it is. I do need to put some spacers, some like 1/8 spacers, because it's a little bit of, they got some metal here in the back for the hitch. There's a spot right there, and that's actually a little higher. So I'll space it, especially right underneath where the brackets are. That way it can bear that load better. So we got our boards on. We're starting to drill them. It's a lot of work to try to get through there. Not for me, but for him. One thing we did though is we got our 2 end boards on, and we set our boards in. And then we put a chalk mark down on them, so that way we got a nice straight line right over top of our channel. Otherwise, if you don't, you won't have a nice row of bolts. You'll think you're getting them right, and they'll be all crooked. So, got the 2 end boards mounted, and now we're working on these ones over here. And we got a big old 3/8 gap in there. And what that's for is, let's see, do I got those pins somewhere? No. Anyways, you can see this pin right here. It's in the tape. What that's for is we'll be able to make our T-handles that go in there and then we got our gap set. So that'll be on this board, and then I think we'll skip one. I think we're gonna do it over here or in between here. Somewhere where it's gonna be the next gap to strap down. But anyways, that's what we got going now. So it's just kind of a boring part, and so we will get this done, and then we'll record the next portion of what we got going. Okay, so now I'm going to be working on my taillights here. Be soldering them all up. That way I don't have any issues. When you use the cribs or even these solder one, or the heat ones with the heat shrink on it, you heat them up and they crimp down and they solder your wires. They're not like actually using a soldering iron and putting your wires together. That makes a really strong connection, and you pretty much don't ever have problems with that. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to have heat shrink over each one, and then I'll tape everything up to just try to keep the dirt and the water out of everything. If you ever get dirt and water and things, that's going to cause you to start to corrode, and you will have connection problems down the road. But you keep that water out, it lasts a long, long time. Like I said, for the vibration and everything, it sticks a lot better that way. So anyways, that's what I'm doing. Getting everything set up here, starting to solder wires, getting this all done. Alright, another day of this, stretching it out as long as we can, I guess. We've got these bars here drilled, and we're going to get ready to weld our tie-down points in place. So with the way that these are going to be set up is on the edge of these boards right here. They're going to be screwed and attached. Let me get out of there. It's washing out my picture there. There we go. It's going to be screwed and attached here. So basically, imagine that flat bar there, and then these attached to it. So that's what it's going to look like. And those are going to be our tie-off points. And then when the boards are up, they'll be up top here for some tie-off points also. Anyways, he's over there drilling the holes up, getting that done. And then we can get them screwed on. What the plan is putting these boards down and getting some inserts in the boards that we use bolts to bolt it down. But I think I forgot to get the inserts ordered, so I'm probably just going to drill them and tap them for now into the wood. It's not the best, but it'll do for the time being. And then once we get those inserts, we'll put them on. And hopefully it's before we have to really tie down heavy with this, but no guarantees on that. So anyways, we're ready to get these welded on so we could do some test fitting. So let's get set up for that. So this is what it looks like here. And we'll screw it on and it will look like this. Anyways, we'll get that screwed down. Another day. So I've been working on right here, getting some pieces cut up to cover the boards on the edge on my runners on the side to box things in. So we'll see. I think I had to reverse these, so I reversed them. We'll see what turns out because we got opposite ends. So hopefully I did it the right way. You start it and do 3. Let's check it out. Nope. I messed up. I forgot I had to move one of them over. So now we gotta roll this guy back up. Okay, now we should be good. Looks like it's finally working now. But I still have problems with this tip. I need to buy a new torch here because this one's not working very well. So I'm getting them cleaned up, getting them ready to mount in the corners. Here, step aside, I'll show you. This is what we got right here. See? Those will go right in the corners. We'll run some screws in them. And then we'll weld this here. And then that should get us to where we're bolting through these on top to hold that down to the plate. I still got to cut a few more that go on top of these places, but right now we're just getting the corners ready.
Can't get enough Adventures in Odyssey?
No, I can't.
Scenes with the official
Who drank my pop?
podcast. I'm Bob, producer of the Adventures in Odyssey Club.
And I'm Jesse, editor of Focus on the Family Clubhouse magazine.
All those amazing effects.
AdventuresInOdyssey.com.
Yes, about me. Yes.
You ever used a router before?
Strange that Emily's adventure involved a
So,
kidnapping.
you really gotta watch because those things spin super fast. It'll tear your finger off real quick.
Mysteries. Just like you do.
But,
Yes.
so you don't want to push down too hard because then you might
Mr. Whitaker,
actually push it
probably.
like
It's his equipment.
True. But why would his
Eat it. The camera